one Microphone check. Microphone check. I can see that there are several people still coming in. However, we would like to start at 6:40, so in 2 minutes. So I'm happy you're already waiting. And yeah, let's start the session in 2 minutes. The streaming, right? Hello, everyone, and welcome to WarsawJS number 124. In our session today, we're going to have a lot of interesting points on our agenda, especially, but before that, I'm going to say something about WarsawJS. Usually for interaction, I'm asking questions and people who prefer to participate, they raise their hands. Who of you is interested in participation? Hands up, please. Okay, so all the people who didn't raise their hands are not going to vote, right? Because there are a lot of moments like this. So again, please be more interactive. Who is going to participate? Hands up. Yes. Okay. So that's important because I won't count no's from these people who are not raising their hands. So tell me, who is at WarsawJS for the first time? Wow, that's, I think, something more even than 30%. So welcome, and I'm happy that you're participating today. Warsaw, this information is for you because most of you already know, but WarsawJS is not only a community, it's like a platform for mutual support, professional support in JavaScript. We're organizing meetups, but also other initiatives. And they're focused over JavaScript, but not only, also the non-technical part is important because we want to cultivate our community. So communication, participation, having talks, lightning talks, things like this are important and good for our development. We organize also conferences, workshops. We have our blog and photo sessions. Agnieszka and Piotr are here today, and we're doing them. Yes, Agnieszka, you're here. And if you want to be on time with what we are doing, you can join our Slack. There is a lot of interesting goodies for you. Our mission is to accelerate the process of your development, our something that we can call social capital of this city, this area, this location, but actually not only, because there is also part of our community that is online. And the idea is that thanks to that we learn from each other, that we know each other. Because of the proximity of this event, we can meet and speak face to face to each other. That gives us the reason to communicate with each other and support us in all our needs, actually, because even senior developer is specialized. He doesn't know everything in every field, in development, deployment, front-end, back-end, JavaScript, like Node.js and so on. Everything needs to be mutually done if we really want to be successful. So we subscribe to something that is called in the internet as Berlin Code of Conduct. And I think, Michał, you had a very good explanation what means to subscribe to this code of conduct. So quotation, don't be a dick. Sorry, asshole. That was more universal, gender neutral. Be friendly to each other, because in good atmosphere, in an atmosphere of being supportive and friendly, we all give our best, and yeah, the more you invest, the more also you get, and that's something that we call collaboration. So I'm your MC today. I'm connected with WarsawJS from the beginning, and we're doing this for 10 years, over 10 years. And yeah, I'm going to be also responsible for the process. So if someone speaks 23 minutes instead of 22, I'm giving signals, and after that I hit the gong, and then it's over. So be careful. Time is important. Look at me from time to time, speakers. Illarion, you know that, and also Michał. Michał. Okay. Anyway, we have our amazing team that organizes, and I want to take advantage of this moment. There is someone here that organizes all of this and is already 2 years with us, and that's Sasha Michałowska. Woo! And this is also important to say that Sasha was actually for the first time organizer here, also in Box. It was event number 102. So also we have our amazing volunteers. Let's start clapping now, because it's Agnieszka, Dobek, Mehdi, Piotr, Amin, Martyna, Paweł, Ilian oraz Krzysiek. And without your support, without your help, without your continuous work with us, it wouldn't be possible to make such a quality event. We would like also to invite you to participate in these events. You can scan this QR code and submit a proposal for a talk. And generally we do it like this, that if you're speaking for the first time, in general, for the first time, you can submit for a lightning talk. And then it's not important if you spoke in any other conference or meetup. But if you spoke, then just add your URLs to your previous talks, and we're going to evaluate, support, and then we can add you to the calendar. The subscriptions are until the end of this year, because we always do the event on the second Wednesday of the month. So second Wednesday of the month. Next one is, for example, 9th of April, but later more about this. And this Saturday, we organize Cursor AI workshop. This is an amazing tool. I experienced it yesterday, and it's really good. It's the most useful app I created in my life was thanks to yesterday and Cursor AI. I will show you maybe in the lightning talk session later, but I don't want to take too much of the time for the beginning, because the most important fact is that we are here because of the kindness and support from Box. Thank you, Box, our sponsor and host.
Hi, everyone. My name is Basha. I'm the event coordinator here at Box, and this is the fifth time WarsawJS is at Box. And each time it's more and more exciting to see those lovely faces ready to exchange knowledge. I can see some returning faces as well, which is always exciting. And yeah, as you can see, we have a pretty nice space and we'd like to utilize it to support communities such as WarsawJS to foster their growth, allow knowledge and experience exchange. So yeah, very happy to see you all here. Please take advantage of the networking and learning possibilities. And also, if you have any questions about Box, you can scan those QR codes on your tables. You can also ask me or any of other Boxers to share any insights if you have any questions. And yeah, enjoy the night. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Basia. And besides, also there are two other sponsors worth mentioning, and it's Campus AI and Xfang. Thank you for support. Also, we have partners. Our media partner KMag. I think I can also speak something about this later, but with Cursor and JetBrains. JetBrains is doing something great because they are supporting our community also for a very long time, and they're giving us licenses to our community. And to get a license, you can get it for answering questions to our so for asking questions to our speakers, and the speaker is entitled to choose the most interesting, most inspiring question and award it with a JetBrains license that comes from JetBrains. All right, so Sergey Lunski will speak about the red pill of the web application performance, Illarion, Koperski, hands-on with advanced TypeScript types, and Michał Warda, how to use AI to not get banned on Reddit. And all of these talks will take something like 22 minutes. And we start with Sergey Lunski and the red, I can also announce that we will have the lightning talk session, which will be opened by Marcin Kraszewski, the math cyclone, LLM-powered math tutor gained by state machines. And Marcin will open the session, but there will be also 2 more lightning talks at least. All right, so Sergey Lunski, can you join us? Yeah, I think I need to stop share. Again. Sorry.
Microphone check. 1, 2, 3. Just need to find my thing. Awesome. Thank you.
Give it a hand.
Oh, yep. Just go ahead. Perfect. What an intro. Yeah, that was really great. Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everyone. It's my first time in WarsawJS, but it's really great to play home in this beautiful office at Box with this great view. And yeah, to see all of you. And for today, I'm gonna warm up this stage because we have also like 2 awesome talks after. But I will be ranting about web performance. And yeah, just let's start the journey. Performance is a big topic, and it's highly intertwined with everything related to product engineer, right? So 20 minutes or 22 minutes is definitely not enough to cover even like smaller parts of it. But so today I will just skim over the golden circle of 3 questions of why performance matters, what data matters, and how to deal with all of this, right? And it will be some kind of performance review, but not the one you're anxiously waiting every year with your manager. So relax, take a red pill, and let's see what we have. And we will start with why. Why anyone should bother about performance. And I would start by reminding you how the modern web looks like today. But before that, I need to accept this. Okay. So there's some notification. I just need to, okay, sorry. That's ad block. Do you have ad block here? Oh, come on. Oh, okay. Yes. Phew, that was tough. Thank you. I was trying my best. So you witnessed I mean, I have like psychological impact right now of that bad UX. And performance is a big part of it. Because what performance, like in general, right? We all talk performance. It's how well a person or machine does a piece of work or some activity, right? And people don't like waiting, neither in real life or online, right? And there's actually like QR code for some research regarding how people ready to wait, and waiting can be different. When we submit a request, we expect at least an instant acknowledgement from the system. And unexplained waits are more frustrating than explained ones, right? So if you click in something and you don't have any feedback, you're just getting anxious, as I was getting anxious. And people also are ready to tolerate longer for high value services. For example, medical services or bank apps. And for me, it was important also to click through all these banners because I have this presentation for first time and I'm really worried. But yeah, in other scenario, I will just close this, right? So expectations to the web page's speed grow. And unfortunately, the amount of JavaScript, particularly unused JavaScript, grows as well. So let's switch to business impact. We talk about a little bit about psychological impact. What about business? There are multiple studies how performance affects business. Specific metrics like page views, bounce rate, conversion rate, etc. And there are also many case studies available online on how performance improvements helped businesses, right? However, this is a sample of efforts that were successful. And no question, I guess these all were well planned and executed initiatives inside companies and just shared with us. But it's easy to fall victim to the survivorship bias because it's hard to find the case studies where companies try to improve performance but ended up realizing that it didn't bring any value. And I was able to find only one example, probably not that big one, but this is from GitLab. And I found it because it's open source product. They spent around 2 years trying to improve first contentful paint for the first time users by adding inline CSS. In the end, they decided to remove those 10,000 lines of code that they introduced because optimization was like, there was no positive effect of this optimization. So is trying even worth it? I mean, like as any product aspect like UX or accessibility, performance improvements don't make much sense in separation from the business. And so I think what engineers and business together need to collaborate on the question, do we need to spend the time and money trying to improve some performance because everyone does? And the answer is no, unless you have the data. So we move on to the next question, what data we actually need. And here, like in general, we have performance data consists of 2 parts. This is field data and lab data. I like the explanation to distinguish those two. Like the lab data is diagnostic and field data is experience. So for example, lab data, this is Lighthouse, should be used only during development or in CI. And it's just to run some sanity check on application performance, just not to introduce some regression for users. And since it's not based on the real user experience, the value of green lighthouse, which we all always see online, but the value for business is close to zero. So instead, what I suggest to focus on field data, which is represented by real user monitoring, RAM. RAM gives you data about your user environments, how they navigate your app, how performance changes over time and in real time, which is also really important. And there are a couple of a lot of material on how to implement real user monitoring. There are a couple of things to remember, that if you have big traffic, then it probably also will be a big cost for you, right? So probably you will need to introduce some sampling. And also because there's a lot of data, right? It's like real user monitoring. There's also a lot of noise, and it's also a question how to find the relevant insights. And again, if you would ask me, okay, I don't have any data about performance, where should I start? I would suggest to actually start collecting the field data and implementing RAM. But RAM is not API or database cell, right? It's just a process of collecting this data. So we move to the third question, and how to collect the field data. Everyone knows, right? The industry standard Web Vitals. 3 of them are called Core Web Vitals, and the situation is changing, right? Some metrics are getting deprecated. There are new metrics appear. To not get lost with all these things, it's nice to split Web Vitals in 3 categories. Loading speed, basically how fast your network is and how fast your server responds. Interactivity is more about how your clients work, how fast they are. And the stability is about everything, about how you organize layout, how you handle this. And just quick overview of network, because I'm talking right now mostly like a front-end engineer. So network performance isn't something that front-end focused teams can really control in a full manner. What we can do is we can make sure that our bundle size doesn't blow up, and we can work on some bundle size optimizations. But you know this feeling when you're trying to wipe out all duplicates, then you're spending days on bundle phobia, and then you put in all these bundle size gates everywhere, but then you realize that your DevOps team forgot to enable gzip compression. So again, performance, like everything else, is an aggregate result, and it must be managed as commons. And for a moment, I just want to kind of switch to one of these metrics, and I chose for this INP, which is really often misinterpreted as interaction to next pane, which is kind of makes sense because dropped frames and clunky interactions causes all sorts of those bad psychological effects that I mentioned before. And also there are some INP is not that great, right? So it's not calculating every interaction, basically. And we cannot rely on INP, for example, for hovers, right? Hover interactions are not included in INP calculations, but many apps actually use hovers in some of their important user scenarios, like displaying some extra details or, for example, preview thumbnails. Another case is scrolling, which is also kind of important, but it's not included in INP calculation. And why I mention this, because, for example, virtual list that became so pervasive pattern in the modern web is out of the picture. And INP is just one of those metrics, and it's already like many details that we need to take into account. So yeah, and how to explain to your product manager that you need to optimize your TTFB or INP or XYZ and not to work instead on some new product feature. This is complicated. And the problem that this misunderstanding between product and core web vitals or web vitals in general, this is mutual misunderstanding because product people don't understand these metrics, but these metrics also don't understand your product because they're pretty generic. So for that, to kind of get this understanding, what I suggest is that we probably need to focus on some custom metrics. And for example, something like time to focused input. If your app, for example, has an AI assistant, right? This is an example of how Vercel CTO shares their experience with these metrics. Twitter, for example, currently X, use time to first tweet, which probably existed since the days of tweet actually was founded. And Pinterest measure, for example, times to first pin, which is the time between user tap a pin and when it appears for them that actually something happened. And at Box, we have something like time to meaningful content, which is basically measures the time from user goes to file list and the time when some meaningful list appears, right? We have some metrics around that, and we use user timing API for this custom thing. And there are also plenty of existing APIs available. I won't be like going through them because again, a lot of these materials available online. So yeah, instead, I would like to rant a little bit about JavaScript performance. This is, I'm not sure like how representative this report is, but 1 out of 4 respondents of the latest state of JS mentioned performance as one of the pain points in JS. And the question, is it JavaScript that's slow, or the slowness comes from the ecosystem around the language? And of course, why not mention React here, right? Because we need to mention React everywhere, because it is everywhere. And there's like a lot of questions regarding its performance, right? Why do we need virtual DOM? Why not using signals? Does React compiler solve the real issues? And I think the time will answer these questions. But again, as always, it's all about trade-offs. React today is definitely not the fastest UI library available, but should we pick Vanilla.js just because it's fastest on the benchmarks? And will it be wise choice? I don't think so. We just need to remember that there are alternatives available. So you should experiment until it's too big to fail. And to summarize this part, I would like to rephrase this very famous quote that there are only 2 kinds of UI libraries, the ones people complain about and the ones nobody uses. So I would like to stop ranting about frameworks and switch to the topic of how we can diagnose app performance. We mentioned RAM as the way to measure the field data. And I would also like to quickly review Chrome DevTools, right? Because there are some, like, it's constantly developing, and there are some new features which I found particularly interesting. First of them is custom track, the way that you can see your custom measurements inside the performance profiling. This is an example of some extension that you can just pull and install, and you will automatically see long animation frames. This is some new API that will allow to see how multiple render blocking tasks can affect those NP metric. And it's pretty cool. So whenever you put some custom metrics, you can see on this profile tab. Another pretty cool thing, I think, is trace annotation. It looks extremely helpful, at least on the paper, Like you can put some comments in your traces, you can put some questions, export it as a JSON blob and send to your teammate hey, I found out we have some problems here. Do you know what's that? And yeah, probably move further. The next thing, I'm not sure if you heard. I'm not sure if you heard about it. It's called AI. And you probably already seen this. That Chrome actually integrated AI assistant into Chrome DevTools that runs a Gemini module under the hood, and it can help to read those often. This looks a bit like messy still, but it can help read you all these traces and find some insights. Probably it won't yet give you tips to improve this, but yeah, just quick tip. Whenever you profile any page, make sure you don't have any extensions interfering with this process, because yeah, there is a way to hide traces from extensions, but you can just run Chrome with disable flag. So, but what if you can't use AI in Chrome for the privacy reasons, right? I didn't manage to come up with like working demo for today, but I thought, okay, we have trace annotations, maybe just as an idea, maybe you can just add some prompts inside those traces, export it as a file, and give it to your favorite frontier model instead of Gemini. Maybe you will get some interesting insights from that. So you should try. And if you do, please tell everyone that now everything that you do is wipe debugging. And if this will help you to improve your user experience and performance, because in the end, that's the thing which matters the most. You can safely say, I successfully completed my performance review, and come to your leadership with this. Oh, it's without sound, but do we have sound available? Anyway, yeah. So that's what it. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, Sergey. Very nice talk. Are there any questions to Sergey? So first question to you, from you.
Hi, thank you for the speech. Very good. I have one question about the collecting data from the user. Like you say, the RUM, yes, RAM for monitoring the users, but I think we cannot rely on this data because user can block you for monitoring what he is doing. Like,
Yes. I mean, there's still like the best way to collect this field data, right? So like specific users can disable, like let's say advanced users which know how to do this and how to actually navigate in a web with all this, let's say top privacy, right? So, but I think it's just about like 80% of result which we can see, right? It's they're definitely like fully representative data, but it's the best way to see how, because with client applications especially, it's like, I like this quote, whenever you push something, I mean the front-end code to production, and whenever like it's loaded on client machine, then it runs on a devil machine, right? So we're not controlling this thing. And RAM collects like this 80% of data which we actually need, and we can find insights. So.
Any other questions?
Hello, thank you for your talk. Like we are currently experimenting with OpenTelemetry for JavaScript clients. Any thoughts on general problems with instrumentation for Roam?
Basically, yeah, I probably won't like give like too much insights on this. I was like, it depends like what I guess what you already have, right? If it's like completely from scratch, you don't have any system to collect and aggregate this data, I would probably like consider like third-party tools for that. There's like different, there's a lot of them, different for different purposes and with different cost and functionalities. So it's actually, I would suggest to explore maybe some ready solution because to implement, usually they provide SDK and it's already like can be used and without big effort, you can see some results. Yeah, probably start from that. Just to make sure again, that amount of data that you collect is not like, your paycheck won't be like that big.
Okay, and we have only time for one last question. Okay, I had one, but I will ask you on the networking session. Can I? Really? Okay, something is disturbing me. Imagine we can distinguish two types of performance. One of them is green performance, when the performance also costs us large computing power. And the red performance will be performance thanks to stronger computing power that we need to engage because it's burning more computing power, so energy. So can you give me an example of red performance?
Of red performance. Yeah, that's interesting question. I'm not sure if I totally got it.
Okay, so I will repeat. I think that most performance improvements that we do is because we computing power and energy. Thanks. So is there an example of a situation where we improve the performance because of increasing actually the energy that we need to input to get the better performance?
I mean, like with new devices?
Maybe, or maybe using other. Right. Maybe we can speak about this later. Then.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that was too long. Thank you very much, Sergey. Thank you. Listen, I have good news. Pizza is here, and we will make a break now. So the break will take us to the meetup with the speakers, to the next talk. Thank you very much. Saturday. Okay, so we're not going to show this presentation anymore, so I can close it. And Illarion, can you join us and start your presentation? Yes, you're invited. Hands-on with advanced TypeScript types. Illarion Koperski.
Some technical preparations. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Illarion, and I'm a CTO of Van Group. We are a digital agency that specializes in premium lifestyle e-commerce stores. And you might know some of the names. I encourage you to type out the name in Google and check out our portfolio. And I'm particularly proud of the velocity of our development and the fact that we have completed over 50 projects in 7 years. And I'm also proud of the fact that all of those projects, all 50 projects, were fully type covered with TypeScript. So today I would like to share my experience and insights into dealing with TypeScript in advanced scenarios, and hopefully you will find some tips, tricks, and best practices that you can apply in your work. My presentation is going to be divided into 2 parts. So first I'm going to cover the tips, tricks, and tidbits that I would like to share with you that you can immediately apply to your work. And then I'm going to do a live demo of a game that I wrote, where I show you how you can encapsulate the business logic. Well, a game can be a business. So I decided to go with a game as a demo, but at our work, we use it to encapsulate business logic and represent it as TypeScript types. So so that we are able to statically check our logic in addition to unit tests and other ways of verification. So that would be the second part. I will show you the actual game. I will show you the code, and I will show you the core place where the magic happens. And I hope you will follow along on your computers if possible. So Piotr has shared a link in Slack channel. So feel free to explore the code in the repository. It's publicly available. And if you have any questions, please write them down and join me in Q&A later. So let's start. One of the things that I start is DevOps. So you should be, when you're dealing with TypeScript or any other technologies, the foundation is a good DevOps process, and you should be setting up yourself for success. And TypeScript is no exception. So in our projects, we have an extensive DevOps setup, and as a CTO, it's my personal responsibility to make sure it works fast, and it works correctly. But I would like to share you a short list of the things that has to be there. So I highly recommend using the latest TypeScript version in every project and upgrading as soon as possible. Very rarely there is a reason to stay on an earlier version. And if you find out that some library prevents you from upgrading, it makes sense to reevaluate and see if you can reevaluate the use of that library and see if you can replace it or upgrade it to unlock the new version. So in my demo, I'm going to use the latest one, 5.8, and it does a lot of things better. Next, a good TypeScript compiler options configuration will get you very far. So don't be shy in enabling the strict option and the other things. I highly recommend the materials by Matt Pocock, the author of Total TypeScript course, and they also have a free book available on TypeScript, and they have a TypeScript TS config cheat sheet. Basically, you can just copy what the article says, and you're good to go. Now, I would recommend not ignoring ESLint, and I would highly recommend TypeScript ESLint in strict typed mode. So there are 3 modes. So the recommended, strict, then recommended typed, which analyzes the types and gives ESLint much better insight into your code. And then there is a strict type. It can be daunting. So when you're enabling this mode, your output is peppered with errors and warnings, so it can be overwhelming. But keep in mind, even those errors are warnings for you. So if your code works, you don't have to address them all at once, but you already have a purview of what's going on in your code and what can be improved. So now you have a roadmap for the improvements. So don't be shy, enable TypeScript strict typed mode. Also, I highly recommend trying out new tools like Biome Linter, and you can run it alongside ESLint. The checks that they have sometimes overlap, but they also have some additional checks that ESLint doesn't have yet. So by combining 2 tools, you can get much better results. Especially, I would recommend trying the autofix mode. Just running Biome Linter with a fixed flag will get you another roadmap for improvement. And some of them can be applied immediately. So you just commit the changes and good to go. Verbatim import syntax is important, and there are code mods for that. Verbatim import syntax is when it means that you have to specify that you're importing a type and not a value. So you would write import type and then the type. So it's very beneficial for the new tooling, and it also improves the overall picture in your project. So now you see where are the real runtime values and where are the types that are going to go away when you bundle your project. And last but not least, detecting circular dependencies was the ability to detect circular dependency was a godsend for our projects because we encountered we were able to solve elusive bugs by just understanding where we import where we import the modules. So module A imports module B, but module B also imports module A, and then the tooling, the bundler, whether you use Webpack, Next.js, whatever, cannot deterministically resolve which one should be first. And that can be extremely hard to debug, and there are specialized tools for that. And they're easy to use, and they can save your hide. So in my repository, I include an example, a snapshot of the DevOps setup we have. Of course, it's a much smaller snapshot. I removed the parts that are not relevant to the demo, but it's open, publicly available. So I encourage you to try it out and see what applies to your work. So this is a working setup I would be confidently using in a smaller project at work. All right, now about type runtime gap. So as most of you know, that TypeScript is not entirely, TypeScript type system is not entirely sound, and that's intentional. So compared to languages like OCaml, where if your app, if your program doesn't have type errors, it will never have runtime errors, and that's a guarantee. And in languages like OCaml, it's even verifiable. TypeScript couldn't go that way because it's meant as a superset on top of JavaScript. It was meant to be gradually adopted, and it's impossible to achieve type soundness without sacrificing 80% of the underlying language. But it can bite you in a real work project because TypeScript is prone to giving up in a situation where a stronger typed language, can I say stronger typed language? In a situation where a language with more type soundness would sound every warning possible. So there are a couple of tips I would like to share you that can dramatically improve the quality of your code and eliminate the situations where the the compiler says everything is all right, but at runtime you get errors. So first and foremost, please try avoiding type assertions. Type assertions is a bad name. I keep explaining it to my team. Every newcomer gets a lecture from me on type assertions because type assertion term means a different thing in different languages. For example, in OCaml or in ReasonML, type assertion, it means you're basically saying to the compiler in those languages, I'm not sure what type is it going to be. Please infer the type for me. So like it's a placeholder. While in TypeScript, it's a directive. So you say, compiler, listen to me. I know what I'm doing. Just go for it. Compiler says, all right, all right. And now we have magic like this. So you can see before I'm doing JSON parse. I'm trying to parse one as a string. It's going to be parsed as a number because according to JSON, this is a number. So A is actually a number, but there's the magic type assertion. I say, but I, as a developer, say it's going to be a string. The compiler complies. And now you can see that when I do a type of check, type of A equals string, it's true at compile time. So it is a string in the eyes of the TypeScript compiler, but it's actually false at runtime. So what I'm saying to my team, if you lie to the compiler and you're making your own guarantees, you as human guarantee that this is going to be a string. But we make mistakes. We have computers to help us avoid mistakes. So there is no reason for us to feed wrong information into the system. So if you feed wrong information or if you lie to the compiler will start lying to you back, even if it doesn't want to. So instead, it's better to use type guard functions. Type checks like type of is a form of type guard. So here in the after example, you can see that I parse the value into a temporary variable, and then I check if it's going to be a number, then it's a number. If not, then I fall back to null. And now I can handle it much better in the follow-up code. So if B is null, I can handle it gracefully. At least I am as a developer, I am aware of this possibility. So parsing libraries help a lot. You can run you can write a parsing function yourself. So let's say I feed a number, it checks internally and maybe coerces it to a number. You can go as far or as little as you need. And then it outputs the right value. But it can be hard to write those manually, so I highly recommend using parsing library like Zod, Superstruct. I think the newcomers are Valleybot and, well, feel free to remind me of the last one, but it's quite popular now. It's gaining popularity. Zod is my personal favorite, ZOD. Now, next, you probably saw the code on the left in your project. You might have even written something like that. So you have some custom value, which is available in the browser on the window object. So let's say my global stuff. and you would like to access it in TypeScript. And if you don't have the code on the left or on the right, TypeScript is going to complain, and it will say there is no property my global stuff. There cannot be a property on my global stuff on window. And now you have to deal with it. And so most developers turn to global declaration. So they write something like this, either in their own module or in the DTS file somewhere. So they write declare global interface window. Well, the stuff works. But now everyone gets it. So your module gets it, my module, I don't need my global stuff. I might have a different idea of its shape. I mean, for my part of the code. But now I have it anyway. And as I will show later, interfaces compound. So interface names are global in TypeScript, and that's another gotcha. Now you get all kinds of stuff. So I very much prefer the variant on the right, where in your local module, you define what you need and it stays in your module. So this is a local declaration. So this line declare let window, and where you define which type it's going to be, it's going to stay in your module and your module only. So if another developer has a different shape, they will never clash. They will never conflict with what you have. And that's also explicit, so you don't have to hunt down the global declarations across the code base and then negotiate changes with other developers, because everything is scoped to your project, to your module, sorry. All right. Now, I'm going to do a shuffle a bit. Since we were talking about interfaces, and I think this is more important to highlight now. Interfaces in TypeScript are global. So when you write interface my thing and you like ID, and then you have another declaration for the interface with the same name, they will combine. That's how TypeScript works. Interfaces are global. The names are global. So they extend each other. So you don't have to use the syntax interface. My thing extends my other thing. It will work implicitly. Moreover, in this example, they are right next to each other, and it's obvious that you can combine them. So it's obvious where the problem is. But it happens across modules. So if someone writes interface JSON, innocent enough, it will affect the fetch outcome. So the fetch utility returns a JSON interface type. So you will change the shape for every fetch request. And if another developer declares the same thing, they will get whatever you declared before them. And yeah, it's going to a mess. So I highly recommend using type aliases. So there is a lot of contention in the community about interfaces and types, and you can see a lot of discussions on that. But I'm sold on this thing. I want isolation. I don't want my type declaration to affect other declarations, and I don't want other declaration to affect my types. So it's not about stylistic preferences. It's about a clear after effect of the thing. Now, yeah, I'm jumping a bit, but it makes sense. Type resets. So this is a very useful thing. Please visit this link. The article is comprehensive, and moreover, it supplies a library that does most useful type resets for you automatically. So for example, any fetch request returns any type when you do response JSON. So you can do whatever you want with the response, and the compiler will stay silent for the whole duration. JSON parse does the same thing. So similar to what we do for CSS, like there is a CSS reset, there is now a TS reset where you make those types stricter. This project sets it to unknown, which is a safe type. So when something is marked as unknown, you have to parse it somewhere in your project before you can use it. In my projects, I prefer to assign a special type called JSON value, which represents a JSON value. You can see that in the demo repository if you're curious. And now for the easy and cheap thing that might change your life. So I really like it. TypeScript doesn't have built-in exhaustiveness checks. So for example, if you have input like this, it can be A, B, and C, that the compiler by default will not tell you that you're not handling one of the possible values when you're writing your code. But in the newer versions, and this is why I highly recommend upgrading to the newer versions, you, with a single line like this, input satisfies never, you can add an exhaustiveness check to any expression, any if statement, switch statement, or even expressions if you take time to create a special utility. So here you can read that we have an input A, B, C, we handle A, we handle B, and then we fall back to default. But as developers, we would like to be sure that we handle everything before we have a default. So the default itself is a escape hatch. So ideally, we should not have a default, like a fallback value. So, and this is where we can at least add a check for ourselves. So we write this. So at this point, input should be exhausted. So this expression, input satisfies never, means that there are no values left in the type. So we take, and now I cannot say it's empty. It's this special type called never. So we cannot do anything about the type anymore. In our case, this works in our advantage because we can specify input satisfies never. And in this case, we will get an error because we forgot to handle C. As soon as we add a branch for handling C, the TypeScript error will go away. So this is very powerful. This is very useful. You can even do a variation of this. For example, at this point, we can, for different reasons, we might want to do input satisfies C. And that will also work as an exhaustiveness check. But this way, we don't have a fallback value. So the Z return will be a variant for C, and we won't have any fallback. So I would recommend exploring this. This is easy, this is cheap, you can immediately use it, it's available in the language, and this is the single most powerful quality improvement you can make. Now off to the fun part, for the demo. Business logic with types. I encourage you to open a link if you can, but I'm going to share my terminal, my VS Code window, and I'm going to walk you through some of the code, and I'm going to show you a demo of a game, and we're going to build, and I actually built my own blackjack. All right. Let me remind you the rules of the blackjack. I used AI. I used ChatGPT to give me an outline. So my knowledge might be incomplete, but this was enough for me to model the game. So we have a player and we have a dealer. The player can do two actions. The dealer and the player get two cards at the beginning of the round. We can have as many rounds as we want until we exhaust players' money or until we exhaust the deck. We can start over, but we have a round. At the start of a round, the dealer gets two random cards and the player gets two random cards from the deck. Now the player makes their move. They can either say hit or say stand. If they say hit, they get another random card. If they say stand, they don't get any card, and now it's dealer's turn to make a move. The dealer is constrained. The dealer cannot make a choice. If the overall hand value, the value of the cards that the either dealer or the player has, if it's lower than 17 points, they have to hit. The dealer has to hit. If it's over 17, the dealer has to stand. So the rules are simple. So basically, the dealer is the computer in our case. And then we have a tally. So after player and the dealer make the move, we calculate the hand value. The cards have value. Cards from 1 to 10 have the face value, then Joker, Queen, and King have 10 points, and aces have 11. Then we have a tally. So if the player has over 21 points, they lose automatically. If the dealer has over 21 points, they lose automatically. If the player, if one of them, if both of them have less than 21 points, then the one with more points wins, and then we can have a tie, and then we do another draw of the cards. So that's the thing. If you look at the diagram, some people might realize that it's a state machine. Martin, where are you? That's for you specifically. So this is a finite state machine. So we have a clear, multiple states, but they are clearly defined, and we have clear transitions between the states. So if you look closely at this, you can see that we at the start we have a new round, then we transition to player decision, then dealer decision, then we have a tally. The tally decides where we go next. So dealer busts, player busts, we have a higher hand, and we might have a tie. So in the first three, the round ends. We define a winner. In the first two, it's clear what happens. In the higher hand, we also have a value that says dealer has the higher hand, or the player has a higher hand. The tie starts the thing over. So we are back to player decision, and on and it goes. Then the new round begins, and so on and so on. The fun part here is that this diagram looks hand-drawn, and I highly recommend Normal tool, where you can define, it's similar to Mermaid.js if you tried it, but I like the syntax better and the outcome better. So you can write it by hand, but this is generated from the code. This actually represents my code. And before I move on to the code, I want to show you the game. Now, I'm running this in Docker, and the repo includes instructions for running it in Docker. And now I'm going to do npm start to start my blackjack game. All right. So welcome, starting new round. Dealer has Joker and 5. My cards are 10 and 2. What's your decision? Hit. Yeah, some more. I try my best, but I think this is as much as I can go. How about this? No, it's... So starting a new round. The round I won. Starting a new round. Dealer has 5 and jokers. I have 6 and K. I do hit. Dealer wins. Hit. It's a tie. Playing around another round. Dealer and player has, both of us have cards. Hit. Dealer wins. All right, let's try stand. Stand. You win. Nice. Sorry, I did hit. Dealer wins. Stand. Another dealer wins. They have the higher hand. Stand. You win. And so on until I get tired. Now I just can do quit, and it's done. Let's take a look at the code. Piotr, how much time do I have? 1 minute. All right. So I guess I will leave you to exploring. I will leave you to it to explore the code on your own. But I wanted to show critical things. So everything is contained in this demo folder. So this is the loop. So this is a technical part where I use a special library to do that selection thing. The prompt, I should have called it the prompt. I called it ask, but never mind. And I also have print cards, but you can see the actual running loop. While running, if the state step new round, I infer next state from that special wizard utility. If the step is another player decision, I do infer state. You can see that I'm not doing any calculations in the loop whatsoever. I'm just orchestrating the actions. Infer next state, infer next state, infer next state. So you can see that the primary loop is very simple, and it's similar to what we have in React, like this is a visual component, basically. So there is no logic whatsoever, just messages, and if you look at that, you cannot even say how it transitions. But if we go here and we have a wizard definition here, this is where I define things. So this is the wizard state, all the possible wizard states or state machine states. So I have a new round step, I extracted it for purposes. And then we have, when we are on a player decision, we have the deck, we have player cards, dealer decision, tally, tie, and as you can see, the last steps don't carry player cards, dealer cards, deck information because we don't care at this moment. That moment, the round has ended. And now let's take a look at the logic. So I'm using a special wizard config utility that I created. I wrote it by hand. We have a more sophisticated version that we're using in real projects, but for the demo, I pared it down to highlight the fact that I'm doing a lot with the types. So this wizard config, first you specify initial step. Wizards have to have a single starting point. Yes. A single starting point, and then you can have nodes and tails, like endings and anything in between. And you can see that I'm declaring it here. So a navigation, where it can go, and then I define logic when it will go there. So here I define, so from the new round, we go to player decision. The logic for the transition is very simple, but let's take a look at the player decision. So it goes to dealer decision, but you can see that this is where we take the card. We have to, if the person says hit, we take the card. If not, we transition to dealer decision. But this is where all the logic is encapsulated. And it's much more interesting to look at the tally because this is where the calculations are. So if hand value is over 21 player boss, and so on and so on and so on. Moreover, this is unit testable because this helper is stateless. I'm sorry that I don't have enough time to cover this in depth, but I encourage you and welcome you to explore the repository. I try to make it as self-explanatory as possible. You can see that there is a test for the cards. So you supply the cards and see how the tally responds. So you can write unit tests for the logic. And one final minute to show you the wizard config. And this is where the TypeScript magic is, because when you define a head step, it will follow you throughout the definition to ensure that you don't mark the head as a tail, for example. And I do that through types. And you can see a lot of special utility types like extract, exclude, so on and so on. It looks like magic, but it's readable. And moreover, it's types and it's provable. So you can see the outcome and you can modify it to your needs. So this was a huge improvement for the wizards that we built. Wizards seem mundane, but they're everywhere and they're notoriously difficult to implement. So as some of you know, I love wizards and I love talking about wizards. You can see it, I'm wasting time. Yeah, so I believe that types give us a possibility to encapsulate business logic in the most efficient way. So I welcome you to explore it. Now for the Q&A, I'm ready for any questions, and I added some conversation starters for the networking session.
And there is only time for one question. And yeah, Mikhail, I know you actually applied for the question last time, so I will give you this privilege to have the only one question to Illarion, and the next questions will be in the networking session.
Yep, thank you for the talk. As far as I can see, so you made your own library to do state machines, right? Have you ever considered using something like XState, which has all the benefits of big ecosystem and even allowing some completely non-technical people to build state machines?
Very good question. I love XState and I love Stent, another less known library, but yeah, Those are great when you're building a state machine that interacts with the, that acts as a hub. So XState can invoke actors and other things, but it's a generic tool. And in this case, I wrote a highly specific thing for the wizards. As I said, wizards have rigid rules: head, multiple nodes, multiple tails, and the game is a wizard. A wizard form. So whether you're submitting a newsletter, you're signing up for a newsletter, or you're building a blackjack game, it's a wizard. So in our case, in my case, it made sense to create a custom, not even a library, but a helper. I cannot say it's a library because it's highly specialized. It's just a module that I'm using for my work.
Great applause for Illarion. Woo! And unfortunately, we need to switch. Well, fortunately also, because everyone is awaiting your talk, Michał. And the sessions, all the other questions will be during the Q&A session on the networking, because there are two sessions, right? One of them is public and one of them is private. So we need to go back to, yeah. Am I here? Yeah, sure. You can starting to introduce.
Okay. We don't have a lot of time, right? How many lightning talk presentations do we have after? 2. Okay. Okay, perfect. I see it's almost working. How are you feeling today? How's the energy in the room? Woo! Woo! Yeah, perfect. Perfect. I'm gonna need a bit of energy during the presentation. We'll see. Okay, I see it's almost there.
Oh, there's okay.
Hello, hello. Perfect. Okay. So very happy to be speaking here. It's my second time in this office, and I'm going to mention it during the presentation. So my presentation is called How to Not Get Banned on Reddit. Anyone here uses Reddit? Okay, at least few people, so I'm not going to be speaking to some of you know it. It's a journey about building, almost getting banned on Reddit, and using AI to save the day. So after Christmas last year, I finally got some time to relax and play games, and a new game just came up. It's called Path of Exile 2. I don't know if we have any players around in our room. Any Path of Exile? Oh, at least one. Perfect. So a Path of Exile 2 is similar to Diablo, a game where you kill a lot of monsters and you gain levels, etc. So essentially a huge dopamine booster to anyone who is lacking dopamine. I think programming isn't usually giving a lot of dopamine, so having a game like that is always necessary to improve. So I love playing this game, but there's one problem with it. It's very complex. You can see absolutely nothing on the slide, but you gotta believe me that this is a graph which has around, I think, 1,000 nodes. And when you create a character in this game, you have to pick like 50 from this 1000 plus a lot of other combinations. So essentially, it's not only about killing monsters, but also like theory crafting, picking the best build, etc., etc. So when you play this game, you need to understand how it works, because later in the game, if you die, you lose experience. So your character has to be built correctly unless you want to stay on the same point for all of the game, and I don't want to do that. So you need to research, or you need to play the game a lot to get better. Or you can stop playing and start coding. So my idea was, because there's a lot of builds all over the internet, YouTube videos, Reddit posts, you also get a lot of forums, special sites. And the game is constantly changing. It was just released, so everyone is like theory crafting and building. We're all building together as a community, similar to this meetup. There is too much time spent on researching and not enough playing. Here you can see one of the websites. It's called Mobalytics. It compiles a lot of builds. Here is another website. Here is another website, and more and more and more. So my idea was to aggregate all of those builds together, put them on one web page, and give some extended filters. So we began development on New Year's Eve. Fun fact, the first presentation I gave here was on Valentine's Day, like 2 years ago, I think, or 2 years ago on Valentine's Day, I gave a presentation here. So usually when it's an important day, I program a lot. So we wanted to build a quick prototype of an application, scrape data from different community sites and rank those and give a summary and maybe a cool user experience for users to use this application. When it comes to architecture, because some of you might be interested in it, it's a very simple solution. We just have a simple Remix application that is hosted on a VPS on Hetzner behind a Cloudflare proxy. It goes to users. There is a simple SQLite database. I suggest looking into SQLite if you don't want to spend a lot of time on configuring stuff. But the meat, the most interesting part is the data processing and the data sources. And here we have the scrapers and data processing pipeline, which essentially means go to that website, grab stuff from it, and put it in the database in our structure to let us show it to the user in one place. So from Mobalytics, Maxroll, and we also in our MVP use POE2DB for the metadata. This is a summary. I'm not going to show you the whole website because you probably won't understand it unless you're playing the game. The important part is that we've compiled, after gathering this data, we wanted to make some fuss on the internet and show the most popular builds right now. I watch some Mr. Beast, so the top 10s, etc. It's a thing that triggers my brain. And for a lot of community, it also works. So we prepared a list like this. And it looks okay. Each character has a percentage and the build has a percentage. So we've released this as a post on Reddit, on 2 subreddits. We started to gain some traction. But after like 2 hours, both of the posts got removed, and I got serious warnings because the mod team decided that the posts are no meme joke, low effort. Even though I spent 3 days building this solution, it turned out that it's low effort. And why was that? Because I made a mistake. And this was a big mistake, and I didn't spend enough time on it. You see, as I've said previously, this game is very complicated. And when you're building the characters, you not only pick skills, but also passives, you pick equipment, etc. And what defines a build, which we've decided, was here is the small first skill. So we've decided that both the invoker and ice strike, those are the two things that define a build, and we grouped by it. And it turns out it was a bad solution. Even I wrote a bit of naive code to show how it looks. So we've gathered builds, we've picked the first skill gem, and later we've grouped the skills by the skill gem. Then we've calculated the percentage of the whole, and we've released it. And this is a naive approach, a very naive approach, which gave us this list. This is a naive approach of the first skill gem on the list, because sometimes the builds are not defined by the first skill gem. They can be defined by other skills, or multiple skills, or passive skills, or equipment, or a combination of all of those above. So imagine you're a druid and you're using a wand which you fire fireballs, then you're a fireball druid. But if you add an ice wall to it, you're a elemental druid. You're no longer a fire druid, you're an elemental druid, etc., etc. So how did we handle this? First of all, being almost banned on the subreddit that I really like this no-go, I would have to make an alt account. So we've decided to not give up and use AI to the rescue. And our concept was to extract key build information from unstructured pages, group builds by this key information, and generate natural language names for the builds. So instead of how we previously did it, we only had the groups defined by the first skill. We've created interfaces. I'm an interface guy. I'm not sure. I'm an interface guy, not a type alias guy. So we've created interfaces, which what we've called build definers, which can be a skill gem, passive, equipment, or a combination. Each of those has a name, an importance, and a reason for why we think it's important. And when we're extracting those responses, there's a main definer and secondary definers. So we essentially take all of the build data that we previously had here, we put it into a prompt. Here is a simplified version of the raw HTML also here. It wasn't that simple, but it's just for you to understand. We've built, fill all of the stuff into OpenAI. We define a response schema which matches exactly this AI extract response. Here for a simplification, this is a JSON schema object. You can define it in the new versions of OpenAI as Zod object if anyone uses that, or different types of ways to ensure type safety. Yeah, and then you can just call OpenAI API. We didn't use GPT-4o Mini. I host my own models in my home, so we've used that. But here is an example. You can call a 4o Mini with a system prompt. You're a path of exile to build analyzer, extract key information, and later the JSON schema itself is a big help for the AI to extract this information. Then we use this extracted information to update the builds that we already scrapped from the database with the new information. And later we can group by this. We can group by this by, instead of using the ascendancy and just the main skill, we can group, for example, here by the main definer, or we can group by a combination of this. I've simplified the solution right here. Just a bit of grouping code, very simple stuff. Overall, around, I don't know, 50 lines of code. The whole AI, together with the schema definition, I would say around 200 lines of code, but it's self-explanatory. It's not logic. It's just a definition of what has to be extracted. And as a output, you would get the build type melee, for example, the main definer being a skill gem called Frostblades, and the class being called Raider. Raider does not exist in this game, but as an example, it would be a Frostblade Raider. You can also group those things by different combination of the main and secondary definers. You can join them, whatever you want to do. Everything is okay. So we've compiled the lists. As you can see, the lists look very similar to the previous one. I don't have a slide here. I've noticed it right today. So the list is very similar. I would even say that the first 3 options are exactly the same. The 4th option is almost the same, and the 5 options below are different. So submitting 2 days later to the same subreddit with a hope that I would not get a low effort information again. I did it. I submitted it to my Reddit account, to the subreddit, and I went for a pizza with my friends. And when I was there, my phone began to ring almost constantly, and it was because of my email account. Because the community reaction, you probably cannot see it. I cannot enlarge it, but each of those is a email that I've got from happy community members commenting essentially, amazing work. Wow, such an amazing tool. Ping me as well, really cool idea. Thanks, looking forward to it, and etc., etc. So because of spending a bit of time, because this improvement took like 1 more workday, vacation day. We even got a donation, a coffee donation. This post, rather than being banned, got 800,000 views, 95% upvote rate, and 1.2K comments in like 24 hours or 48 hours, but the second 24 hours was meaningless. It has managed to reach some streamers, some from all over the world, in Korea, in Japan, in Russia, in America, and obviously like all over the world, in Spain, in Portugal, Argentina. So you cannot even see the previous peak was around this. And this one post that we've pushed, as I've said, evening later, 2 days later, reached a huge amount of users. Later it dropped. And when we were developing the app further, it was reaching more and more people constantly. So the important lesson from this is there is a very small difference between the output being terrible and awesome. It's a matter of 1 workday, and it might define if your app is terrible or awesome, if the community loves it or not. The second part is that the AI can bridge the gap between messy data and useful insights for everyone. It's a matter of few lines of code and a good prompt, and that the community feedback is invaluable. I would say that I didn't learn about this game as much until I received all this critique. Then I knew all of the characters, which behaves which way, why this build does not make sense, why this makes sense, even though I didn't play the game anymore. Fun fact, after releasing the application, I've spent 0 hours in the game. Although I spent like 100 hours developing the app further. So those are the current analytics from the last 7 days. We've had 1,600 unique visitors. The visit duration is nice, 4.4 minutes. And because we've added ads. I have had a presentation like 2 years ago or 3 years ago also on WarsawJS when I said how to make a game that makes you $2. This time, for the previous month from AdSense, we've gained 45 PLN. Yeah. 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 Plus like $7 from donations. So, you know, it's like serious business. So that's all that I had prepared for today. If you have any questions or want to talk later about the projects, I'll be happy to. Thank you very much. Any questions? Oh.
Thanks, Michał. As always, appreciate it. I hear that Elon Musk is playing this game.
Oh.
Haven't you tried to get him involved in it?
Yeah, I've tagged him in like three. No, he pretends that he's playing the game. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah,
this is the time for you to.
Yeah, we've tagged him in like 3 X posts. One like got a bit of traction, and like the first release of this application from like the first feedback we've gathered was before the Elon Musk stuff, him playing, but this post was directly connected to the we've said like the top. It was a compilation of most popular builds of which celebrities play which builds, and we in this list Elon Musk was like top 1. Like Elon Musk was top 1, and we got a lot of traction from that post. Yeah, so we've used that. Thanks for the question.
Next question. Okay,
Or
you won.
Okay, so first one is technical question. Do you scrap the website from whom you take the data, or they provide you any
we scrap, but through an API. So essentially, we pretend we are users. Is this gonna be like later on the internet? No, we're not breaking any terms of service. Yeah, I even talked to the owners of the pages. We reverse engineered the APIs, and we're using that. It's not easy because those pages, for example, have the data from descriptions is in a what you see is what you get format. So editors, it's not simple HTML or Markdown. So we had to re-implement it on our side to scrap it, and a lot of time spent implementing that. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Don't see any. Oh, one more. Last one.
You said you were hosting your own model.
I mean, in home on my PC, where I'm working currently, like I've moved to a 5.4 model lately, but previously, plus with this project, a Qwen 2.5, Qwen 2.5. Yeah, instruction fine-tuned, and if you're using AI for anything app related, the most important part is the JSON schema stuff. So essentially this part, it's super important to define it in your response schema. It improves the quality of the model responses a lot. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what an amazing presentation. So now we are going to jump right on to the lightning talk session because the time, yeah, we still want to have some time for networking. And I don't want to make a break now because when we make a break, then collecting all of us here will take too much time. So the whole presentation is shown. So As I promised in the beginning, Marcin Kraszewski, Math Cyclone, LLM-powered math tutor guided by state machines. Woo! And I think it was in the file, tak?
Nie, to jest link,
A.
link pod spodem.
Czy... A, okay. Tadam. To jest to.
To jest chyba to.
No, right.
Okej. Tak.
Is it
Yeah.
on? Okay. So full
Finish.
screen. Good
15,
luck.
15 minutes.
No, 5.
5 minutes. Okay. Woo! All right. Just right here into the microphone. Okay. All right. Great. So we got 5 minutes to talk about this idea. So I'm going to go through really fast, and I think we'll have time for questions. Just so you all know, I am really bad at math. So this is why I decided to maybe build this. I'm Marcin Kraszewski. I'm a systems integration specialist. You can email me at contact@crypto.com. Okay. So for a lot of people, this is what math is to you. It's a party. It's fun. It's engaging. It's great. I love it. Let's do this. All right. But for me, math is like punishment. Okay. It's a punishment that I get from life. I just have to do it. I have to push through math. Okay. Of course, math is something we can turn into something valuable. Like this is math, we turn it into a career in finance. Okay. My question is really, do you have to be a genius to learn math? Maybe it helps, but I really think that there are opportunities for us to perhaps create a tool or create some of an approach that's going to be helpful for that. So can we make learning math as addictive as playing video games? Maybe. Math takes effort. It takes effort. It takes a lot of work to do. And these things are scary. The research papers are really intimidating because if you can't understand the math inside of these, you have no idea what's going on. And you sort of like the way that you read these is you read them and then you just sort of go, and you just kind of go past it because you don't know what you're reading. You have no idea what the formulas say. I don't know what this says. I don't know what this means. I have no idea how to interpret that at all, just so you all understand what I'm talking about here. Perhaps we can make math learning as addicting as gambling. We can take some inspiration from sport. We can make it like a competitive thing, but we can definitely get motivated by money. I know a lot of people that know maths work in fields that make them a lot of money. Probably not maybe professors, but other people. So there's a couple different approaches that this tool would have. Of course, I'm not seeing my notes here, but basically we have spaced repetition. We have interweaved learning. We have retrieval learning. And we also have concrete examples. There's also would be use of the Socratic method and Math Cyclone. The general idea is that we're going to get through that painful experience of having to learn math. So if you're buying a book or you're watching YouTube videos or something else and it's just not coming together, there's some hope. So the idea here is right in front of you. This is pretty much it. This is the whole thing here that I'm trying to talk about, is creating an experience for you to learn math in a very kind of a full screen focused experience where you just go problem to problem. You provide the answer, you provide the solution, and this tool will monitor your progress. So generally, I mean, this is kind of what it looks like here. You've got the LLM engine is generating the problems, it's evaluating the solutions, it's tracking your progress, and essentially it's acting as a tutor, as an instructor. There are some problems, of course, because if you're using a model and it makes a mathematical mistake, it's probably not going to be able to correct itself because it doesn't even know that it made that mistake. So again, the idea is to go from like total chaotic approach to learning math or tutorials or reading some article or whatever to having some sense that you're making some decent progress in your approach. Like I said, I can't see my notes here. So unfortunately, But for me, the big success criteria is if this worked, I would be able to learn significant amount of math in, let's say, 90 days. To just bring it home, to just really discuss what this looks like, the idea is that at the beginning of the session, you describe the topic you want to learn. It's going to generate a bunch of subtopics. And then every time you start a subtopic, it's going to generate, again, more sort of granular information. And it'll track your progress as you try to answer various quiz questions, things like that, in real time. Okay. Again, like I said, without notes, it's really hard. But if you have any questions, let me know. Really hard to do this without the notes I had somewhere in the slides. Oh, perfect.
Okay, one question. You were fast.
Okay, one question. Okay, good. One question. Go ahead. The working name is Math Cyclone, but we're open to suggestions. Yeah.
It is available for everyone. It's like, can you learn from this?
Would you like it to be available?
No, I mean, I would like to use this app because
Yeah. Okay. Good. I think it'll be available soon. Then.
Soon, like I have a session like on the majority in next Saturday, so it will be good if we'll be able today.
I'm gonna try to meet your expectations. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have time for the next speaker. So, Michał Korolev. Applause! Would you also have this as a presentation? Because
I need my computer.
But we need,
Dude,
Zoom.
I can't do it. I thought you told me I can't plug in my computer.
You can, but we need. So how? Because you said that you will only play the sound. It's impossible. No, it is possible. Okay. So you do first. All right. So for that, we will do a different lightning talk because Michał needs to turn on the screen sharing. So in this case, let's do some programming together. But I need to switch my profile. It will be difficult because on this profile I don't have installed the tool, and I need to have Zoom also on to share with the internet. Okay, so we will do. I know what we will do. I'll show you. So desktop again. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. So next will be Michał, and then we will still have some time for networking that you're waiting for. So before we do that, you can already start the survey, and we have 3 minutes, I think, or you can even use 2 minutes to make a survey because we only evaluate regular talks. We don't evaluate lightning talks. So if you can do it now, we would be very grateful because this gives us power to develop and to focus on the right things because there are also open questions to you. So you can give us feedback. And this is important for us because we are doing this event for you. And yeah, we want to know what you need. What is the point to deliver bad events? We need to have better. Okay, so again, I'm showing the code last time. Please scan it. Please make the survey because your feedback is really appreciated. Am I sharing the screen? But to the streaming? Okay, never mind. And as I said, WarsawJS is always on the second Wednesday of a month since 10 years. I'm not joking. And this means that there will be one on 9th of April. And we have already the agenda prepared. So if you want to go to 42 Warsaw in Warsaw to see our event, the event is already also published. If you go to meetups night, it's Solidarności 171B. Beautiful place. It's really incredible that such place exists, because when I was starting in IT, it was end of 2013, and there was the first boot camp in Poland called Coders Lab. Coders Lab, unfortunately, is closing now. But it is for business reasons, obviously, because no one will, who is sane would tell anyone, hey, after 3 months of a course, or even after half a year of a course, you're going to be a programmer, because now it's impossible, because juniors are not really needed that much as they were. Now we have in Warsaw 350 submissions per job application for a junior developer, and you know, the risk that someone will finish a course like this and is not going to get any job is much higher. So what happened? There is an organization called 42 Warsaw, and they are actually a foundation that is giving 3 bootcamp for 15 months, something like this. But you need to do it full time, and you work together in a team. The education of this academy is very reasonable to me, because I was also actually studying education in the past, and I can see that they really understand what does it mean to learn or to teach someone something well. So they're doing live projects, useful projects in small teams, in a environment with mentors, with some specialists and requirements that they need to solve. So this place really impressed me. If I had millions of dollars, I would also fund something like that. And I think that this is a good place to go and see how they're doing it. And we're going to have this event on 4th of April there. So you can actually secure your spot even now, because we opened the early bird tickets. So if you want to be with us at this place and see these talks, I can show them again. So Aleksandra Czetwertyńska will speak about tech is not enough, how soft skills become power skills, Gilfink, mastering task management in JavaScript, and Bartek Legięć, taming LLMs, how to make them speak our language. So these are the 3 regular talks that will be in April. And as I said, we opened the early bird registration, which is almost over 2 times cheaper than the regular or the late bird ticket, actually, because it's like something like 39 zloty. So yeah, that's the information I wanted to share. And my question is, not work? No work? No option. But you're such a good speaker. But what if you share the slides me? If you send the slides here. Okay. So we would do it anywhere, anyway. Who has completed the survey? Okay. So, and who? Can you hold your hand like this? And now, who from these people who have raised their hands would like to have a JetBrains license? Ha, you! So, And besides, one resolution. Is Sergey still here? Because you get a license, because you had the only one question then, but Sergey is also here, and Sergey needs to choose the person who's winning the JetBrains license. It's for the question.
I think Sergey, others, you ask question, right? So yeah.
Congratulations.
I need a thing.
It's actually a
Or
nice
it's just
win
alright.
because the license for WebStorm costs something like 200 euros, so it's nice.
One, two, three. Oh, wow. This is the most trouble I've ever had preparing to talk. The what? Okay, I have very little time. Anyway, so this is a talk. All right, we don't have much time. Anyway, just a side note, the talk is not about TypeScript, but I just felt really bad that it was not mentioned today, that TypeScript is being ported to Go, and I am just super happy about it. Yes! Hell yeah. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Anyway, that's not what the talk is about. This is my name, it's on the screen, and I'm really I do stupid stuff. My website is a terminal, and I made the smallest video player in history, plays the video in a 5 icon. And one of my first projects of Arduino projects was connecting my table to developer tools. This is really satisfying. Anyway, yeah, I think this is a time for a demo. This is a thing I made. Recently, I went to Berlin to attend an AI meetup. I don't usually go to AI meetups. I'm not really an AI guy, even though right now I'm interviewing for an AI engineer role. I hope my future possible employer would not see this. Anyway, so this is a thing that I made on the train to Berlin. And as I do occasionally speak on stage from time to time, you know, if you're a little bit nervous or anxious about yourself and you want to do, you know, a little break, have a sip of a drink or something like that. So this is something that I designed to fill in the dramatic pause that occasionally happens on scene. So it's a very simple app. It all works in the browser, and it has 3 inputs. At the top, there is a text box, which currently says, "I'm in a box office," and stuff like this. Is a little bit more context on this stuff that the computer is not able to see. Then there is, of course, my face here, which you can see. And the third input, the last one, is at the bottom here. I'm not sure if you can see that. And this is live transcribing what I'm saying and what the laptop microphone basically picks up. And this is running powered by Transformers.js and Amazon, I think it's Amazon Whisper, that's running on the device, which is, I think, pretty cool. Anyway, let me just show you. This is designed to have this kind of personality of noir narrator from a noir movies, or if you ever played Max Payne, you know what I'm talking about, or if you watched a movie like this. Now let me pretend. Can I? Okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to drink this. It's just for the show. So just so the computer can see it. And this is, let's say there's a camera that's following me around, and I actually have a camera like this, and I'm planning to use this as one of my next talks. But let's just say the camera has captured this moment right here, and the computer heard what I was just saying, and now narrate. Actually, it's a bit slow. It depends on the internet speed and the processing and stuff. But let me see if that works.
He stands on the stage, his surprised expression caught mid-sentence. A can of Coca-Cola in his hand, revealing a rare moment of vulnerability in the otherwise poised presentation. His casual attire belies the stark, high-rise setting, adding an unexpected layer to his thoughts.
Okay, that was a bit too much. But don't clap yet. I don't have much time for clapping. Please wait. So another thing is, when I was doing this on the Unexpected Berlin meetup, someone told me, can you make it mean instead of noir? So I had to change the prompt to this. You are playing a role of my enemy. Roast me at all costs as harshly as you can. So the second one, let's try this one again. Is it reloaded? Is it up? Yeah, it should be up. Okay, let me do the nice face. Okay, and now let's see what the computer thinks about it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just need to give it some text. Oh, I'm very cautious. I'm standing on stage. I'm really worried that it really goes to shit all the time. Okay.
He looks like he's just realized his own talk isn't going according to plan, with eyebrows shooting up like they're trying to escape his forehead. Clearly, he didn't see this twist coming, and the open mouth? That's the look of someone who suddenly realized he's not as ready as he thought.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Anyway, I think that's all for today. Thanks.
One last question for today. Is there one? Yes.
Are you going to release it?
Yes, I'm listening.
Are you going to release it?
The what? Sorry?
Are you going to release it? Like make it available?
I don't know. The code is so terrible, and I made it on the train to Berlin in 4 hours. It's really bad. Maybe I will. I need to kind of prepare it because I'm ashamed to look at it myself. So yeah, it's really simple. It's just 3 LLM calls, one to the image model and another one one of the OpenAI models that can respond with audio. Cheers. That's all.
Congratulations. Okay, so because you already completed the survey, some of you at least were so kind, and I told you about the next meetup. That's all for today. After we will still have the networking session. However, as you understand, possibly there is the effort that we put into organizing this is sometimes a lot. And for example, some people asked me recently if Sasha is the same person who Alexandra, because they see that there is a very busy person, Sasha Sharm, working at WarsawJS, and there is also another very busy person, Aleksandra Michałowska, working at WarsawJS, but it is actually Sasha. One person that can work for several people, and yeah, that's a lot of work, and we actually need more support for the community to survive and to develop. So if you like to have a year ticket and also have less effort in ordering the next ticket and remembering about if I already bought, you'll be automatically on the list if you buy the yearly ticket, which is 420 divided by 12, 35 per meetup, right? So it's not expensive, and one invoice, and I think it's reasonable to do it. Okay, so anyway, of course, if you're a frequent comer. All right, so my question is, who would like to join our photo? Let's make a photo together. Dobrze? Co? Dobra?
Bo ja stałam, wiesz, chciałam zaprosić wszystkich. Nas wspólne zdjęcia, bo obawiałyśmy się, że zapomnisz, nie?
Maybe it's too late to receive the license for everybody else. Yes, that's the problem. We have license. It depends on where you're from. Actually, yeah, I didn't read it. You're partially British. How do you say noir? Yeah, right now. Yeah, noir, but it doesn't come with my like.
What?